Hello, this is Peter with Georgia Online Instructors. Today we're going to talk about a lecture regarding patrol and observations. All right, first of all, what do you do when you first get to your job site? All right, first time at the job site, you want to read what we call the post orders. Folks, your post order is going to have major components that you need to know prior to accepting that particular job site. One, it's going to have the important elements of the contract written down. For an example, what time you get there, what time you leave, what type of uniform you have. Is it an armed post? Is it an unarmed post? These things are going to be listed in your post orders. Second, your post order is going to have your emergency plans. If there's a hurricane coming, when do we disengage the property? When do we come back from the properties? When the winds are so many miles per hour? It's going to have all those particular emergency plans all indicated in case of fire, in case of emergencies, who to contact and what to do. All right. We're also going to have on your company procedures what to do. For an example, if you're working at a job site and the job site says that you would check in all truck deliveries, check the seal and things of that nature, you have to do all those things according to your post orders, also known as your SOP. All right. Also, it will also state that the company policies as far as being respectful, professional at all times while on that post. So it's going to have everything there for you in case you work at this site one week and perhaps you have to work at another site the next week. These things are there for you. It will spell out for the most simplest person. It will spell out what to do when you get there. So this is how a good post orders should be when you accept the position at whether it's patrol, on patrol, and we're going to talk about what type of patrols that we have. All right, next, we're going to talk about the types of patrols that's common in our security industry, and that one would be vehicle. All right, you have security companies that are patrolling in patrol vehicles. Patrol vehicles, you have everything from golf carts, you have we call mules, you have trucks, you have cars, electric cars, you have all type of things that we consider a vehicle. All right. That takes in mind if you have a valid driver's license that you're authorized to drive on the public highways, it's important to keep that in mind because you fall under all the laws and statutes of the state or the state that you may be in. So it's important before you accept the job site from a security company that you know that if you don't have a driver's license or if your driver's license privileges are suspended, do not drive your company's vehicles. It's gonna create a major problem for you and others. All right. Next type of patrols that we have is common is foot patrol. Folks, foot patrol is the most common one that security officers do. We actually conduct our patrols by foot. Now, when we conduct our patrols by foot, we want to keep in mind the weather that we're working in. A lot of us work in all types of weathers. If you're in the south or the north, sometimes it can get very hot. If you're in the north, sometimes it's very cold. So you have to dress accordingly to the environment that you are working in. All right. Next type of patrol we're going to talk about is a static patrol. Now, what is a static patrol? A static patrol is something, for an example, you're in a stationary point, whether it's a guard shack, an entry to a property, a luxury property, or an apartment complex. Your job is to be located there. You will have a specific post orders what to do in case a visitor come in case a resident or an employee come in. So your job is to stay there until you properly relieve. Okay, so your SOP or your post orders will state that. All right, your next type of patrol that we conduct are bike patrol. Many of the security companies today have bike patrols, whether it's ATVs and or bicycle. Folks, some of these things require specific trainings before you start getting on a bicycle and conduct patrol. So most of the companies will provide you with some at least minimum amount of training prior to operating a bicycle in the way that it should be operated on. In addition to any ATVs or all-terrain vehicles, they should provide you with some type of a training. All right. Now, folks, I'm going to go back to the vehicle real quick. It's important if you are assigned a vehicle when you come on shift, you are required to check the condition of that vehicle. when I say condition, and most of us, a lot of us have indeed rent cars before, from whether it's Budget, Ace, Enterprise, and we have to walk around that particular vehicle, indicate which are there any scratches, dents, or anything wrong with the vehicle. All right. So if it is, you want to mark that and indicate that on your vehicle inspection form. It is very important to do so. All right. That is one of the ways that it will prevent you from being upset at your company because they're taking out of your check because you failed to indicate that there was damage to that vehicle, and the officer that relieved you stated that there was damage when they got the vehicle, but you failed to place notations that there was damage. So you're responsible. So you're responsible for the payment. So prevent that. You want to make sure that you check and recheck that vehicle prior to you accepting that post. All right. Now, one another thing about the vehicles we want to talk about is that you want to make sure that that vehicle has enough gas. If you're going to be working an 8-hour shift, that it has enough gas there so that you can perform your job and your duties. Now, it's the same if you're relieved by another security officer, you want to ensure that there's enough gas for your ongoing security officer. Folks, this is very important to understand that this vehicle is burning fuel, and today's cost of fuel is expensive. So keep in mind that when we're working and when we are responsible of putting gas or gassing up that vehicle, sometimes your supervisor will have to do it. If the car requires 87 octane, don't put 93 octane in it just because you're not paying for it. Put 87 what it's designed to do. It's very important to do so. Some of these cars are only designed to carry or to operate under 87. Some are operate under 93. In most cases, for your security patrol vehicles, it's going to be 87 octane. All right. Also, basically on all of our patrols, we're going to have some type of form of communications. Obviously, we have our job as security officers is to observe and report. Observe and report. So if you don't have a phone and or radio to report a suspicion or an incident, you're failing your mission. So make sure when you come on duty, if there's a cell phone or if there's a radio that you're accepting when you come on duty, that it is charged. And also when you get off, make sure that particular radio and or cell phone is charged for the ongoing security. Okay, very important. Some of the things that we utilize as security is a system called a guard tour system. Some of us call it the Dougie system, but it's generally around the board. It's called a guard tour system. It's an electronic device that will indicate that you are at particular locations at a specific time. Folks, that is the security officer friend. It's not something that you should be regretting that you have, because based upon through my career, I've seen so many liability issues for lawsuits that stating that security wasn't doing their job. But the security company has record that they were indeed doing their patrols every hour on the hour. That little guard tour system can save the day and can also save your company money in unwarranted lawsuits. All right. So treat that guard tour system as your friend, not your enemy. All right. Now, while you're doing patrols, whether you're on foot patrol, bike patrol, static patrol, you want to be able to check your doors of your perimeter. On your first patrol that you conduct for the day, you want to go and check all the perimeter of the doors. That's the first thing you want to do after you make sure that your car and your radio and your phone and also your keys that you have in your possession, because you're signing for it, folks. Check your doors. Some of your gates are going to be locked with chains. Ensure you pull down on that lock. Sometimes there are people who do what we call a dummy lock, and this is not completely locked. It appears to be locked until you actually pull down on it. So you want to make sure that someone that did not leave that particular gate unsecure. All right. So that could be an issue from employees of that client possibly trying to come in at a later time for employee theft. So you want to ensure that you're cognizant about those chains and pulling that chain, pulling that door. Don't pull the door so hard if the building's alarm where it's going to create an alarm. So you would know how to pull the door if it's open and for things of that nature, but just don't use all your might to pull on that door. It may cause an alarm on that particular location. It's going to be causing more work for you. All right. Now, when you're doing your patrol, whether you're on foot, whether you're on vehicle, whether you're on a bike patrol, you want to change up your routine. Now, for an example, if you're at a static post and every hour your SOP or your post order state that you must conduct a patrol around the building. So you don't always want to leave the gate shack and go to the left. You also want to sometimes change it up, go to the right, or go to the left halfway, turn back around and go the other opposite way. Folks, if someone was going to case your location for a burglary or whatever the case may be, even though you're there, they're gonna probably case you for a day prior or 2 days prior. So you want to change up your routine. Let it be not so obvious that you're going to be doing the same thing, the same time, the same place. All right, very important to change your routine. All right, let's talk about response to alarms. All right, so if you were responding to an alarm on a property, remember, if you're in a patrol vehicle, you're not the police. You have to follow every laws of that state that you're in, like we all do. Just because you have yellow lights on your top of your car doesn't give you the authority to break the rules of the law, rules of the road. All right. You should never have sirens on the car. You should never have anything that would be considered an emergency vehicle. We do not drive emergency vehicles as security officers. The common yellow, strobe, or green is approved for security across the board in most states. All right. So if you're responding to alarm, the first thing you want to do to the alarm, to the place that has the alarm, you want to go around the perimeter. While you're going around the perimeter, folks, you want to be able to check and see if there are any broken windows or any open doors, things of that nature. If there's no broken windows, no open doors, no signs of forced entry, it could be wind, it could be rodents running into in the warehouse, wherever you're at, that may be causing the alarm. All right. At this point in time, there may be no need for law enforcement to respond. So that's why you're there. So you just want to reset the alarm, know how to reset these particular alarms or the password for the alarm company so that they can reset it for you after you conduct a check around the building. And if the building appeared to be secure, that's what you want to put into your report. Alarm happened at this specific time and the building appeared to be secure. All right, and the alarms are reset. So if you know how to reset these alarms or get taught how to reset one of these alarms, someone have a key, you may want to do that and learn that for yourself. It make your job a lot easier in the evening times. All right. Now, what do you do if a person, you're on patrol and you have an alarm at one of your buildings and there's actual signs of entry? All right. So, folks, this is one of the things that we want to teach you, that if you arrive on scene and you do what your post order state, you conduct a perimeter check around the building, and it appears that someone, or it appears that there's signs of entry. All right. You, at this point in time, you want to disengage the area. You want to observe from a distance, notify 911 of where you're at, who you are, where you're at, where the location of the open door or broken glass located at. And if there's any vehicles in the parking lot, you want to get the tag number. But at all times, disengage and call law enforcement. Law enforcement will respond adequately, and they will take over the situation at that point in time. All right. So it's important, if you see something that is apparently a possible burglary in progress, do not engage, disengage, observe and report from a distance, and indicate who you are to 911. What are you wearing? What patrol vehicle you in? And if there are any other suspicious vehicles in that parking lot, you want to jot down their tag number. Okay. But do not at all make contact with any person that may be inside that building for officer safety. All right. We want to ensure our cell phone is charged. We want to ensure if we had a radio, that our radio is charged, because on the other side of the radio, you're probably going to have a base station or a headquarters. And so you want to know They want to know what you're doing, if you're okay, whether they're going to do an officer 10-4 check every hour, an hour. It's up to them. It's up to your company. So you want to ensure that your radio and your communication is adequately charged. Now, while you're on your patrol, whether it's a large warehouse, you want to be able to, every night, especially for the night officer, you want to go and check these outage of any light poles. Folks, the electric company for your area does not make money if that light is out. Most of the time, they will not know that that light is out unless you tell them. So, folks, if your client only comes there during the daytime and you're working at night as a security officer and there's 3 lights out around your perimeter, it will behoove you to advise that client that you have 3 particular lights that's out. How do you know which light is out? There's over 100 lights on the property. Folks, on every light pole, there at about 6 feet from the bottom, there will be a serial number which indicate that is that particular location. When you write it on your daily activity report, that particular serial number on that light pole, once the property manager or the building manager, once they call that local power authority, they will give that number, and the power company will have someone come out there probably before the end of the night or before the end of the day to change that bulb. And if you're working as security, we want to have a well-lit facility that will discourage anyone trying to sneak in or do any type of crimes because the lights are inoperable. That is also one of the most common lawsuits for security companies or property owners when they have lighting that is out in and around the perimeter. And if someone fall and hurt themselves and or be a victim of a crime, and they could easily articulate that it's because there were no lights or not adequate lights on the property. So we can save our client and also save our security company money from answering these frivolous, sometimes good lawsuits by just doing our job. We're observing and we're indicating these lights that are out. Very important about the light posts. All right, now some of you are going to be inside of vehicles, and folks, in these vehicles, they're going to have yellow or green lights. We will not have any strobe lights. Now, folks, some of your properties that you may be patrolling are large campuses. All right. Some of these locations, you could be in a subdivision where there may be 2,000 or 3,000 people living there, single family residence or apartment complexes. At no time we are authorized to conduct a traffic stop. At no time we are not authorized to conduct traffic stops. Only law enforcement officers of that state have the authority to conduct a traffic stop. Okay. Now, be advised, you don't have to be inside of a vehicle to conduct a traffic stop. If you are out at a location and you're flagging a car down and you're not at the front gate where they have to come to a stop, and you're flagging the car down because this person is speeding, that may be considered a traffic stop. And remember, you are not authorized to conduct a traffic stop. It could get you in a lot of trouble, and also that security company in a lot of trouble. All right. So if you see a person speeding, particularly violating the rules of the community that you may be patrolling, your job is to observe and report. Report the tag number, description of the car, the description of the occupant, but at no times you want to go up and conduct a traffic stop, or even close to, for it could be misconstrued as a traffic stop. It could get you in a lot of trouble. Okay. All right. Now, while you're on patrol in a vehicle, you want to have, even though it may be cold or it may be hot, you have the air conditioning blowing or you have the heat blowing, you want to have that one of these windows down just partially where you could hear any abnormal noise. For an example, someone's needing help, someone's yelling. You want to be able to hear or detect that. It is not a good thing when you're passing by someone who's yelling your name out and all they hear is a radio blaring inside of the car with the windows up. That is not a good thing. It's not the way you're going to be trained. So roll those windows down, folks, while you're on patrol, so that you could hear any abnormal noises or screams for help. All right. Now let's talk about if you're on a patrol vehicle and that There's times you're not going to be driving all the time. Sometimes you may have to stop and conduct your daily activity report or conduct a incident report that happened earlier. So one of the things that we want to do, we want to be able to park our car in a safe place with keeping officer safety paramount. Now, when you park your car, you want to always, if at all possible, park your car with a wall to the rear of you. That way no one can come up from or surprise you or sneak up on you from the rear. Your back of your car should be facing a wall. Then at the front of the car, you can look at the property, look to the front of you, to the left of you, or to the right of you. And you would not have to worry about anything from the wall behind you. That is a tactical way of thinking. In addition, it's for officer safety. All right. So now we talked about several things today, and we took about 20 minutes in this lecture. Remember, there's the color lights that we are authorized to carry, have on our vehicles are yellow or green. You do not want to use any other color of lights. Purple belongs to the funeral home industry. Yellow and green is generally are for the security and or warning or public safety or sometimes construction. So these industries have their own lights. So be advised that is what we're teaching you today, and I'm hoping that this falls on good ears and that this help you and your company reduce liability and for you to stay safe. All right, be safe out there and while you're on patrol. Thank you.